So I sit right in the middle politically. I look at both the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, and people on the left and people on the right that may not officially be part of the parties, but that's where they are. I look at both sides and I kind of think they're two sides of the same coin. I think that both sides are equally crazy. I think they all have their own separate shticks. But I think one of the biggest problems that exists today in America is just this huge political divide between people on the left and people on the right. And at times it almost seems so insurmountable. So what I want to talk about in this video today is misconceptions that I believe people on the left have of people on the right. You guys are getting some stuff wrong. You really are. Maybe there was a time when these things were true, maybe 10, 20 years ago, but people on the right, the Republicans, the conservatives, they have changed so much. And I feel like I'm in a good position to do this. Listen, if you're new to my channel, if you're new to me, I was a Democrat for 20 years. I joined the Democratic Party when I was 18 years old. To this day, I have never voted for someone who is not a Democrat. Actually, no, I take that back. I have voted for someone who wasn't a Democrat because it was Bernie Sanders in Vermont. I grew up in Vermont. I voted for Bernie Sanders, who is not a Democrat. He's an independent, but he's even more left than the Democrats. Now, I ended up leaving the Democratic Party in February. It was a long, slow breakup. I will link my article in the description below if you haven't read it about why I left the Democratic Party, and so you can go do that research on your own. But long story short, I feel I'm in a really good position to kind of sit in between the two parties and say, y'all are crazy over here for this reason, and y'all are crazy over here for that reason. I think everyone is insane equally. They have more in the ironic thing is they have more in common in their collective insanity than they would even think about themselves. But today we're going to focus in on things that I think the left has wrong about people on the right. And this was really one of the things that inspired me to do this video was this meme. This meme that I actually saw show up on my Facebook page. It was actually posted by the husband of my local state representative. And, you know, it actually ended up getting me into a little tiff with her because I posted my objections to this meme and she didn't like it so much. She ended up blocking me on Facebook. I'm not sure that's even legal. She represents me in the state legislature. I'm not sure she's actually allowed to block me on social media, but that's a whole other story. Let's focus in on the meme, shall we? And it says, "This is America. Love it or leave it, snowflake. Gays can get married and adopt children. That's the law. Brown people were here before us and will be here after us. Better get used to it. The Affordable Care Act is the law. Tough S. Your pre-existing conditions are covered. It's illegal to discriminate based on sex, race, or nationality. Go cry me a river. If you don't like it, leave. This is America." And obviously this is meant to be a take on the memes that the right puts out. Listen, here's the first thing that you need to know about people on the right. For people who are on the left. They're like, people on the right are way funnier than people on the left. Here's what happens. The left all the time, they try to take memes from the right and do their own kind of bastardized version of it. And universally, it is less funny. People on the right, they're hilarious. These people are master meme generators. And one of the reasons that I wanted to do this video is honestly, people on the left, if you can just soften your perception of people on the right, they will make you laugh so hard. Laughter is good for the soul, people, and the people on the right are doing a whole heck of a lot more laughing than people on the left because some of their memes are just really funny. Look at some of the memes that Trump tweets. And Trump is the master of doing this. I remember, oh my gosh, he sends people on the left into a tizzy. And here's the other thing. I'm gonna kind of connect this with thing number one about the right is actually funnier than the left. Every time Trump is posting one of those memes, he knows he's sending you into a tizzy. You play right into his hands every single time, people. One of my favorite memes is Trump's head photoshopped onto Rocky's body, and he tweeted that out, and oh my god. My liberal friends on Facebook lit up like a Christmas tree, like, how dare him? They know exactly what they're doing when they tweet this stuff out. They're trying to rile you up. You need to stop getting riled up by the memes that they're tweeting and make your own memes that are way funnier than this, because this is not funny, folks. This is not funny. I understand it may make you feel good for a second, but then you're gonna watch a video like this and learn that all these things are misperceptions. These are not correct. These are not correct perceptions of what today's right is like. So that's thing number one. I want the left to know about the right. They're way funnier than you, and you have the opportunity to be funny in your own right, but you've got to stop copying the memes that the right is putting out, because you really, I'm sorry guys, you really suck at it. You're not good. You could be better. Be better, okay? Now, that's kind of a fun one, but let's get into the serious stuff. So let's talk about brown people were here before you and will be here after you. One of the things that I really wish the left would understand about the right is that the right isn't racist. They're not racist. Listen, I know, and we're going to get into, again, I told you, this is more serious. I understand how traumatic Charlottesville was. I do. I understand that. I remember sitting at home watching that coverage live, and I was still, by the way, I was still very much in the Democratic camp. I was watching it on MSNBC, and I was horrified to watch what happened in Charlottesville. I was horrified at images of these angry white men with their stupid tiki torches and their chanting and the rallies and then the car going through the crowd. I was horrified at all of this. What you need to hear, though, is that the majority of people on the right, and I'm not talking like a small majority, I'm talking the vast majority of people on the right are not racist. They are not. And I know what you're going to say. You're going to say, Carlin, at the very least, if they're supporting Donald Trump, they are supporting racism. And I know you're going to say that because I said that too. I said that for years. They may not be racist, but they're supporting racism, and that's not okay with me. I said that line so many times, and I was wrong. And you're wrong. Listen, I went to CPAC in February, the mecca of conservatives. I gotta tell you, I was so nervous about going to CPAC. I really had an image in my head of what the type of person that would be at CPAC. And I was wrong. CPAC was an incredibly diverse audience. You know who the two rock stars of CPAC were? Their image was literally everywhere. It was everywhere. Diamond and Silk. Diamond and Silk are the absolute rock stars of CPAC. Two black women, rock stars at this event. Their photos are everywhere. Everywhere they're going, I ran into them a couple times just kind of like walking around. They had security, crowds of people around. Everyone wanted their picture with Diamond and Silk. The speech they gave, it killed. It was, first of all, it was hilarious. They were fabulous, but it was like the audience loved it. They loved every single second of it. And Diamond and Silk were not only, like, here's what you're going to say. You're going to say, Carlin, Diamond and Silk, they're tokens. They're just tokens of the right. The right is tokenizing them. No, they're not. They were not the only people of color at CPAC by a long shot. It was an incredibly diverse audience. Now, here's the thing about it, though, is that race was not really a topic of conversation. You want to know why? They were more interested in policy. They were more interested in other areas where the focus on race that exists on the left, it doesn't exist on the right, because the right wants to see everyone as individuals. They don't care what the color of your skin is. They don't care what your gender is. They want every single person to have equal access to opportunity. Where the left differs from the right is that right now the left believes in equality of outcomes. The right believes in equality of opportunity. Those are two fundamentally different things. And I have to tell you, as someone who has been a liberal all my life, I have to come down with the right on this one, because here's what I know as someone who coaches. I coach in organizations, I do like workplace psychology, that sort of thing. And here's what I know is that you can give the smartest, most talented, most capable, competent person every opportunity in the world, and they can still make the choice not to step up and take it. That is an individual choice. And that the only people who are going to really succeed in our world are the people who want it. And they don't even frankly need to be the smartest or most talented or more capable. You can take like a mediocrely talented person who has drive, who has commitment, who has passion. They are going to outperform the most talented person in the room that does not have drive or commitment or passion every single day of the week. And that is not dependent on someone's skin. And the right understands that. It's not that they want to hold everyone that's not white back. It's that they want people to be accountable for themselves. These are not racist people. You have got to stop calling them that. You are not solving any problems by calling people on the right racist. You are not making a more fair and equal and just world by calling people on the right racist. It is not how it's going to work. And here's the thing too, isn't it a good thing that they're not racist? Isn't that a positive thing? Here's what I don't understand about the left right now, is that you want to find racism and sexism and all the phobes, you want to find it in everything. But if you're presented evidence that no, these people are not racist, these people are not misogynist, these people are not discriminatory, you're like, no, obviously this is not true. For me, it is a very, very good thing. It is a positive thing. It is an uplifting thing even to know that people who I really perceived I perceived them to be the worst of the worst for so long. It is a positive thing to know that they are really not racist. That is a good thing. Why can't you see that? And if you're in the position of really you're convinced that I'm wrong, that I'm just making this all up, that it's a secret conspiracy and everyone on the right is racist, why do you want to see people that way? What has driven you to want to see the worst in people rather than seeing the best in people? That's the question I would ask if I was in your shoes, because I want to see the best in people. And if people aren't racist, I'm going to go, hey, high five, thumbs up, I'm not either. That's awesome. I'm not going to then accuse them of continuing to be racist when they are not. They're flat not. Now, on that note, I want to go into another point that this meme made, and it's kind of like right next to the race point. They're not homophobic. They're not. Now, listen. I joined the Democratic Party when I was 18 years old because at that time in Vermont, which is where I grew up, civil unions had just passed. Civil unions were the precursor to gay marriage, and I was so proud. I was so proud to be from Vermont and to have that be one of the places that anyone who wanted to could be with anyone they wanted to. They could love whoever they wanted to. I was so proud to be a part of that. And at that time, and again, this is 20 years ago, at that time, the people who were fighting that were on the right. They were trying to legislate their religion. The right has fundamentally changed. This has changed dramatically, and to be honest, I don't know exactly when it happened. I suspect started to change probably before Trump was elected, but I think Donald Trump getting the Republican nomination and ultimately winning the election was actually really good for the Republican Party to expand itself. It had to change, it had to grow, it had to evolve, and my perception of what's happened is that where the Republicans sit now is that some of them might individually not be in favor of gay marriage because of their religious beliefs, but are they working to prevent it? No, they aren't. They're saying, you know what, you do whatever you want. I'm reminded of a conversation, and you can Google this, you can find it on YouTube. I'm reminded of a conversation I saw between Dave Rubin and Ben Shapiro, where Ben Shapiro is not in favor of gay marriage, that it goes against his beliefs. But Dave Rubin is married to a man. He is in a gay marriage, and how Ben and they're friends, and how Ben Shapiro frames it is like, you do you, man. Like, we don't have to agree on this, and so that's kind of the attitude of many people on the right. Is a lot of them frankly don't care. And I'll use the CPAC example. You know who two other rock stars at CPAC were this year? Brandon Straka and Scott Presler, both gay men. Conservatives love these men. They love them. There is like, I can't think of anyone, possibly Diamond and Silk, but anyone in the conservative sphere that I'm aware of that has more fangirls than Scott Pressler. They like watch videos of Scott Pressler's trainings. They are fawning all over him. They love him so much. If they were so homophobic, they would not love either of them. They're not homophobic people. Maybe they were at one point, but now they just don't care. They're like, you do whatever you want. We don't have to agree. And you might say too, like, Carlin, they're just tokenizing them, because you guys love throwing that term around. They're just tokenizing them. Well, no, they're not. Listen, man, I know Brandon. I've talked to Brandon. Brandon is like the last person in the world that's going to say, like, I feel tokenized. He loves what he's doing. He's so good at what he's doing. He loves every single second of it. Same with Scott Pressler. I imagine that neither of them feel like they're the token of the right simply because they happen to be gay. It's not what it is. So the right is, so we got 3 so far. The right is more funny and you should stop stealing their memes. The right is not racist, and the right is not homophobic. And, you know, another thing I want to discuss is that the right doesn't necessarily want you to agree with them. So point 4 is, you know, on the left, what happens, and again, I was a part of this, so I can understand it, is you guys try to bully your way into making everyone agree with you. This is what cancel culture is. If you don't agree with us, if you don't bend the knee, we are going to get you canceled. We are going to get you fired from your job. We're going to get you pulled from your platform. We are going to make sure that you are not allowed to be a part of everyday society. I mean, I have an email box full from people who are canceled by their relatives, who are canceled by their children, who have, oh my God, the emails I get from the parents are the most heartbreaking. They say, I have to choose between having a relationship with my children and expressing what I believe. That's the choice, because so many kids right now are canceling their parents. Here's what I want you to hear. People on the right, they don't need you to agree with them. Agreement is not necessarily the goal, but what they need and what they crave is for people to have an open mind. Listen, I was very lucky in that I got welcomed into these circles on the right, and it wasn't because I agreed with them, because I don't. I'm very liberal on a lot of things. I get in fights with them all the time about things. We get into great debates on some things, and some people say some nasty things. Listen, I'm not going to say that everyone on the right is an angel. I have blocked hundreds of people on Twitter who say nasty things, but the vast majority of them don't do that because they really just want you to have an open mind. They really just want you to listen to what they have to say and to consider things from their perspective. They just want you to stop insulting them, to stop calling them racist, to stop calling them Nazis, to stop calling them white supremacists, to stop calling them homophobes, transphobes, every phobe under the book. They just want you to stop and have a conversation with them. That's what they want. They want you to have a conversation. And if you walk away disagreeing with them, that is perfectly fine in their book. And listen, I watch this happen all the time. I have a group on Facebook that has several thousand people in it of all different points of view and persuasions, and I see this manifesting itself over and over and over again. Is people on the right, they want to understand, they want to have a conversation, they like the discussion, they intellectually they like it. People on the left want to convince people on the right to think like them. Now, I know you don't want to hear that, but that is the absolute truth. I've seen this happen over every single day. This happens. And then sometimes people on the left email me, they're like, Carlin, people on the right just don't understand. They don't want to believe science and facts and all this stuff. And all I can say is that you're trying to convince them to think like you. They don't think like you. They see the world differently. And people on the left then leave the group because they don't like that. Just have an open mind, because here's the thing, folks. Diversity of ideas, diversity of thought can be one of our greatest strengths if we allow it to be. We cannot have a functioning society if all you're going to do is try to cancel everyone who disagrees with you. That just doesn't make sense. We cannot function as a society. We will never come back together if you just can't learn a live and let live philosophy, because that's really what it is. And that brings me to my last point, is you know what the right wants more than anything else, I think, and people on the right might disagree with me. Leave a comment if you do. What I think the right wants more than anything else is for the left to leave them alone. They just want to be left alone. When I look at the right today, what I see is more libertarian than anything else. Is they want small government. They want government out of their business. They just want the government to leave them alone and to let them live their lives. And guess what? This is great for people on the left, because they're going to leave you alone too. They're not going to try to, for the amount of times that you all throw around the term fascist, I don't think it means what you think it means, because the right will leave you alone. They will not get in your face. They won't speak up. I have been on people on the right to speak up and start expressing their beliefs for weeks now. They don't want to do it because they say, Carlin, you don't understand. We just have a live and let live philosophy, and we just want to believe what we believe and be left alone, and we don't want to get in these discussions, and we don't want to get in these debates. And so you don't get that perspective, literally because they aren't speaking up, because they just want to leave you alone, and they just want you to leave them alone as well. That's what they want. Why isn't this easier? This is like the easiest group of people in the world to get along with. It really, really is. But you have to give it a shot. Listen, folks on the left, I promise you, if you actually start talking to people on the right without having the goal of trying to convince them to think like you, but just start talking to them, start trying to understand their perspective, you are going to be shocked. You are going to be absolutely shocked at how few conflicts you actually will have with them. They are not racist. They are not homophobic. They aren't any of the phobics. They are not white supremacists. What they want is to live in a society where people do for themselves, where people empower themselves to go after what they want. That is what they want. And they have very different ideas about how to do things. Listen, they have ideas about immigration reform. They have ideas about healthcare reform. They're not going to align with yours for the most part. But why can't we even have a conversation about it? Why can't we say, you know, maybe the right does have some good ideas. Maybe they have thought about it, because a lot of them have. They do. Maybe this is like a bonus item. They do believe in science. A lot of them. Now, there are some conspiracy theorists on the right. Don't get me wrong. Listen, one of the things that drives me crazy about the right is the conspiracy theories. Really, the conspiracy theories are in the land of the right, for sure. A lot more conspiracy theorists, but it's not everyone. It's really not. Most of the right are not anti-vaxxers. Most of the right are not engaged in conspiracy theories. Some of them are, and you know, it's kind of harmless, I think, for the most part, because they really aren't getting anywhere with it anyway. But you don't do them any service, and you don't do yourselves any service by making the right out to be these monster, racist, white supremacist, Nazi conspiracy theorists. They're really not. And some of them, and some of the people on the right may find this offensive, but I actually think it's a good thing. Some of them are like the most boring people in the world. They just want to get up and go to work and put in a good day's work and go home and see their kids and have dinner and relax and kick back and, you know, maybe do some stuff on the weekends. That's all they want. These are the most boring people in the world. They're not trying to impose their will on you. They are not going to take over and create a fascist society. It's just not going to happen. And if you would just open your mind and talk to them, then I really think that you would discover that. All right, so those are the things that I wish the left understood about the right. Now, I'm going to be doing 3 more of these. I'm going to be doing one of things that I wish the right understood about the left. I'm going to be doing one that's things I wish the left understood about the left, because I think the left has an awful lot of blind spots, and I'm going to be doing it to the right too. Things I wish the right understood about themselves. Listen, if you care about this country being a functioning society We've got to start having these conversations. We've got to start seeing each other as human beings. Flawed human beings, to be sure, but every single one of you is. There is not a single one out there that's perfect. And this is the only way we start to heal this terrible space that we're in. So that's my first in this series. I'm going to be doing 3 more of them. I hope you enjoyed it. Listen, folks, if you liked this content, if you like what I'm doing on this channel, please consider subscribing, hitting those notifications, giving it a thumbs up, all that good stuff. And I hope to see you with another video very, very soon.